top 10 cards you're going to want to find yourself making sure that you can pick up in time to be able to play Splight this fall. Like 30% of you guys have not smashed living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash as we climb up the 100k ladder. Number 1 on the list here is going to be Swap Frog, Dupe Frog, Ronin Tonin. A nice little frog package. Now, most of the variants that we've seen should be playing the frog package is usually 3 Swap Frogs, 1 Dupe Frog, 1 Ronin Tonin. Basically, this gives you a removal engine so you can work on the axis for this. And if I need to really tell you this, you should probably look a little bit further into this, but this is a deck that's going to revolve around rank 2, level 2, and link 2s in order to pull off its strategy. So you know what you get best with the frog engine? If you open 2 of these, you technically have double Ronin Tonin fodders here for this deck. Also considering the fact that everything for this deck is going to work on that axis of level 2, link 2, rank 2. Swap Frog is by far probably the best candidate for this because it doesn't really punish you for playing the package except for opening up a bad Dupe Frog, but that happens sometimes. Next up here is going to be Sea Diva. Now, on normal summoning, special summon a level 3 or lower Sea Serpent monster from your deck. Well, guess what this does? It summons itself. There were some cases where they were playing heavy infantry is the one that is the level 2 that has the ability, gives you like an additional normal summon or something for like a Sea Serpent or something like that, or like an extender option. If it's sent by a water effect, you could pop something, but it's another level 2 that you can pop out. Cool thing with Diva is it does act as a tuner, so if you do want to try to play Halki Vibrax in the deck, which you can, it's not, really the most optimal way to go about it, but we have seen builds that could do so for that. But Sea Diva is going to be one of your 2 primary candidates that you're going to want to be focusing on between like the Frog package and the Sea Diva, because every build has been streamlined pretty much, including these to that point. Next up over here is going to be the Evil Twin package. Now, the reason why I mentioned the Evil Twin package here is you get the ability to use the little Kishi Sakil and the little Lilas to basically climb up, guess what? The Link 2 ladder, yay! Also with Kishi Sakil and Lila, you basically get a little mini interruption engine during the opponent's turn, which you're going to be dedicating a lot more space to the extra deck for this versus your more standard build. But this was just kind of something that I've seen, once again, the OCG was playing as like a sub package to the deck. If you don't want to play Sea Divas, you can play the Kishi Sakil package because they do have a searcher, which basically allows you to streamline them a little bit more. You can also play the Link 4 in the deck, which is kind of cute actually, also doubles down for Artemis Slay, work. But outside of that, the Evil Twin package is not that great, but once again, this is a video for things you might want to keep an eye on for Splight. Alright, now we get into the extra deck shenanigans here. Next up is the best link to the best Exceed that we have right now. Totally awesome. Once per turn during the standby phase, detach material, special summon that Dupe Frog from my deck. Okay, free synergy. Once per turn during either player's turn, opponent activates the spell, trap card, or monster effect. Send an aqua monster from my hand or face up in the field of the graveyard and negate that activation. Then I can send it back to my field, and then I can add any of my water monsters from my graveyard back to my hand. The OCG has this card currently limited to 1. Technically, the TCG does have more of this available. We could see a preemptive hit a little bit with this, but as I'm making this video, you want to make sure that you have at least 1 totally awesome if you're planning on playing this deck. Could it get reprinted? Yeah, sure, but I mean, you take that chance with really anything at this point in time. But I think that this card is definitely one of the centralized backbones to this deck. Best. Next up is Cat Shark. Now, we've seen a lot of builds that were starting to play Cat Shark. When this card has an Exceed material attached to it that was originally Water Monster, can't be destroyed by battle. Sure. Alright. Once returned during either player's turn, each of a material from this card, target a rank 4 or lower Exceed monster you control. Its attack and defense become double its original attack and defense till the end of this turn. So what you're telling me is I can turn any of my, rank 2s, I can make my totally awesome into a bullying machine. 4,400 attack points. That's awesome. Honestly, this is one of those more, oh no, something went wrong buttons that this deck kind of wants to see. And I honestly think that's like one of the cool things that the rank 2 deck has going for it for Splight, is it does have these really niche, weird interactions that I think a lot of people have forgotten about over the years. So I would keep an eye on this. Obviously, Sky Cavalry Centauri too, but just got the reprints, and nothing too crazy to focus on that. Next up is going to be Cap Shell. Now, none of the current OCG builds have really focused on Cap Shell. So you can only use one of the following effects of Cap Shell per turn, and only once that turn. So if this card is distributed, you can draw a card. Okay, if this card is used as link material, if this card is used for fusion, single, or link summon, you can draw a card. If it's detached to activate a monster effect from an Exceed monster, draw a card. It's a level 2 that doesn't really progress the game state too terribly much for this deck, but Secret Rares have definitely calmed down from where they were during the initial buyouts that we saw for Splight. And if you're somebody out here, it's like, well, you know, I forgot about Cap Shell. Maybe I want to pick up a set of these to mess around with. I don't think that this is the most optimized result, but players like being informed of some of the option trees that they could have. This is something that you want to test out and then decide if you want to buy. Keep an eye on it, all right? Next up in the exact same category for this is Iprea. Oh, another monster that says draw via summon. Okay. I can only use that effect once per turn. This and Cap Shell pretty much go in the same category. And once again, Ipreas have calmed down a lot from their initial waves. Actually, regular rarity Ipreas are now cheaper than Cap Shells. But if you want to get really, really cheesy, you can technically play Iprea and Cap Shell within the same deck to play this really weird draw package. And if that's what you want to focus on within the deck, you know, generate as much draw power as we can, you can do that. That is something that you can do with your strategy. But once again, based on competitive results out of the OCG, that is not something that I think a lot of people are going to want to focus on. But once again, ideas are just ideas. Just keep that in mind, all right? Next up is going to be Nightmare Corruptery. Now, this one kind of scrapes by pretty hard because we no longer have an immediate way to really pull this out of the deck, all right? If Nightmare Mermaid was still around where we could capitalize on this a little bit easier, this would be a different story. But right now, the main focus on this is if this card you control is sent to the graveyard, special summon this card to your opponent's field, and then they cannot perform link summons. It is a level 2. It does fit within the bill for what we really want to see for this deck. But is it on the most competitive level? I would say it's in the Cap Shell Iprea department. It's not crazy. It's nothing that you're going to want to scoff an eye at too much. But keep an eye on it, all right? You never know when something else comes down the way that maybe spins Nightmare Corruptery down some really weird rabbit hole just to be played. I don't know. Next up here is, this is the most unlikely one out of all of these, is going to be Cyberstein. Oh, well, Robbie, you know how many people, when Splites were first announced, literally pointed at Cyberstein and said, this is it. I mean, you get locked into link 2s, rank 2s, and it can only special summon level 2s. Your value on Stein is just you can get it into the graveyard and you can revive it on the next turn via the link 2 to pay 5,000. You're not going to get like any crazy immediate value out of this. I just mention it here because there were so many people that were so hyped for this card being usable with this archetype. It was actually crazy to me. It has long since fallen off at this point in time, but I just want to give a shout out back to it yet again. Isn't it amazing when you have such harsh restrictions, people still go, oh, Cyberstein, yes, we can play it. And then you don't see it anywhere. But it does fit the bill to be one of those better Link 2, Rank 2, Level 2 support cards. And then the last card that you're going to want to find yourself having is Ghost Reaper in the Winter Cherries. Since you're as prepared as you are now for the chance to play this deck, you're going to want some countermeasures in order to play this. One of the best things that we've seen out of the OCG was a lot of builds have been playing this as a dedicated 1 to 2 up, so you can reveal your own Splight Blue and then take away your opponent's resources away from them. If once you take away that ability to special summon from the deck, you really do hurt this deck. and it's actually quite impressive to me how much this deck can struggle once a Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries actually goes off. So prepare your wallet, make sure you have a copy of this laying around so you're good to go for Splight. So that's my little top 10 of things to keep an eye on here for Splight. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.